You're 20 years old, it's a Friday night, your first real paycheck just landed in your account, and staring at that number feels like holding the whole world in your hand. Your phone won't stop buzzing, your friends are already out, there's a jacket you've wanted for months, a new phone glowing on every screen you scroll past. Everything, all at once, is reaching for that money, and then, in the middle of all the noise, a quiet little thought sneaks in. What if you took just $100, not 1,000, not your whole check, just 100, and invested it every single month, and never, ever stopped? It sounds boring. It sounds almost pointless. $100 can't change your life, right? Stay with me, because by the time you're 60, that one tiny, forgettable decision is going to leave you speechless. And somewhere around age 45, there's a night that almost makes you throw the whole thing away. This is Jecob Finance, and this isn't financial advice. It's a story built entirely on how the market has actually behaved over the last 100 years. So take a breath, and let's live it, one decade at a time. Age 20. You open a simple investing account. It takes 10 minutes, less time than picking a movie. You set it to quietly pull $100 every month into a basic index fund, and then you close the app. The first month, nothing happens. The second month, nothing happens. 6 months in, you check your balance and it says $300 and something, and you actually feel a little embarrassed. Meanwhile, your friend Jake just rolled up in a brand new car he financed, music loud, everyone cheering, and you've got a screen with a tiny number on it that nobody will ever clap for. This is the very first test, and this is exactly where most people quit. They see the small number, they feel foolish, and they turn it off. But something in you decides to just let it run. You don't tell anyone. It's your quiet little secret. Age 25. 5 years gone. You've honestly stopped noticing the $100 leaving each month. It just happens in the background of your life. Your account sits around $8,000. It's not exciting. It's not changing anything. And late one night, scrolling through everyone else's highlight reels, the trips, the parties, the things you didn't buy, a voice creeps into your head. You're wasting your youth. That money could be fun right now. And the worst part is, part of you believes it. There are nights it genuinely stings, but you don't shut it off. Maybe it's stubbornness, maybe it's a promise you made to someone you haven't even met yet, the older version of you. Remember that voice, though, because it doesn't leave. It just waits, and it comes back louder. Age 30. 10 years of quiet, unglamorous consistency. One evening, you open the account almost out of habit, and you stop. $20,000. You read it twice. And here's the part that gives you chills. You only ever put in $12,000 of your own money. The other $8,000, the market made that. While you slept, while you worked, while you did absolutely nothing. For the first time in your life, you feel it in your gut. Money can make money. It's just a small taste. But it lights something in you that never fully goes out. Age 35. Life is heavier now. Rent, bills, maybe a partner, maybe a kid on the way. That $100 that once felt invisible now feels like something you're sacrificing. And then it happens. The emergency. Your car dies, or a bill lands that you never saw coming. And for a few days, you seriously consider raiding your investments just to breathe. Your finger hovers over that sell button, but you find another way. You scrape, you cut back, you protect that account like it's a living thing. Because in a way, it is. And you're barely past that when the real gut punch arrives. The crash. The market falls off a cliff. You open your account and your money has been cut nearly in half. What was $40,000 is suddenly worth $25,000, gone, overnight. The news is screaming. Everyone you know is panic selling, swearing they'll never invest again. Your chest is tight, your hands are cold, and every single instinct is howling at you to pull everything out before it all vanishes. This is the moment. Out of 40 years, this is the one that decides your entire future. Because here's the truth almost nobody ever understands. You have not lost one single dollar unless you sell. It's only a loss on paper, only real if you make it real. So you sit there in the dark, you breathe, and you do the single hardest thing in all of investing. Nothing. You don't sell. In fact, you keep buying $100 every month straight through the terror, quietly picking up the same index fund at half price while the whole world runs for the exits. Age 40. The market recovered the way it always eventually has, and because you kept buying while everyone else fled, you now own more shares than you ever dreamed. Your balance? Around $76,000. You put in $24,000 of your own money. The market handed you the other 52, and this is when it quietly hits you. The people who panicked and sold back during the crash never came back. They locked in their losses and watched from the sidelines as the recovery they were too afraid to wait for made other people rich. You weren't braver than them. You were just still holding on. Age 45. And here it is, the night I warned you about. You're sitting alone, looking at your account, and even though it's grown, it suddenly feels slow. 25 years of doing this, 25 years of saying no to little things, and a wave of doubt rolls over you like never before. What was the point? I could stop right now and barely notice. Then you open social media, and there's Jake. Another vacation, a bigger house, a life that looks, from the outside, so much richer than yours. That old voice from age 25 comes roaring back, and this time it's almost unbearable. You've done enough. Just quit. Enjoy your money like everyone else. This is the exact spot where nearly everyone finally gives up, heartbreakingly, right before the miracle. But you've walked too far into the dark to turn around now. You close the app, you hold on, and you have no idea how close you were to the payoff. Age 50, 30 years in, you open the account and you physically have to look twice because the number doesn't seem possible. $226,000. You put in $36,000 total. The market made you nearly $200,000, and now you notice something that steals your breath. Your money is growing faster than you can even add to it. In one good year, it now earns more than you'll contribute in 3. The tiny snowball you packed together at 20 with cold hands and no clapping is finally rolling downhill on its own. And around this time, something tender happens. You sit your own teenager down, you show them the screen, and you tell them the story of a 20-year-old who almost felt too foolish to start. You help them open their first account. You're not just building wealth anymore. You're handing down a secret, because from 50 to 60 is where it all detonates. This is the part of compounding that feels almost unfair. The part they never show you. At 55, the account is climbing so fast it doesn't feel connected to your $100 anymore. And then, age 60, you sit down, you take a breath, you open the account one last time. And the number looking back at you is $632,000. Let that land for a second. Now here's the twist that rewrites the whole story. Over 40 years, do you know how much of your own money you actually put in? $48,000, that's all. Every other dollar, almost 600,000 of them, was built by the market, by time, by compounding, while you simply refused to quit. And look closer, your account grew more in the final 10 years than in the first 30 combined. The decades that felt the most pointless, the years that made you doubt everything, those were the years quietly loading the explosion at the end. The magic was never the $100, it was the 40 years of not giving up. And Jake is 62. He enjoyed every single paycheck along the way, and he's still setting his alarm, still clocking in because there was never anything left over to grow. And the hardest part is you can't even be angry at him because for so many years his path looked like the smarter one. You weren't smarter than Jake, you weren't luckier, you didn't earn more. You just started early, you stayed boring when boring felt like losing, and you didn't run when everyone else did. That's the whole secret. It was never about timing the market. It was about time in the market. Now, a moment of honesty, this journey assumes the market keeps returning roughly its long-term historical average of about 10% a year, and no 2 decades are ever the same. Some will be worse, some will be better. But whether you land at 600,000 or only 300,000, the lesson doesn't move an inch. Start early, stay in, and never let fear make the decision for you. So here's the real question this whole story has been asking you from the very beginning. It was never, do you have $100? You almost certainly do. The real question is, do you have the patience to let it quietly become something through the boring years and the scary ones? Because the best time to start was at 20. The second best time is today. If this story hit something in you, tell me down in the comments what age you're starting at. I read every single one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.